The title isn't a lie. From the creator that has worked on BACCANO and, Lord help me, DURARARA, I think that's how you say that one, mouthful of a name, fantastic series, comes Dead Mount Deathplay, which is this very interesting corpse god reverse isekai, which is honestly my personal favorite first episode of this anime season. I'm not saying that this will be the overall best when it's all said and done, but this, it hit. It clicked, it was perfect. You have Battle of the Ages, good versus evil. The first 7 minutes of this episode or so, you have a legendary hero who's using magic in so many cool and creative ways, going up against a corpse god necromancer, and seemingly wins. I mean, you think so, but then you end up in a modern Japan setting. And for me personally, I was like, oh man, this legendary hero somehow ended up in this boy's body who for some reason has a slit throat. Turns out, said boy was literally assassinated by a group. We don't know why, but there was literally a hit on his head. And over the course of this episode, as we're looking at a modern city, no magic as far as the eye can see, by the end of the episode, they transition back to that fantasy world where the legendary hero's like, something's not quite right. And then the punchline comes that the necromancer gambled one last time, reincarnation, and now is in a world full of magic that he's going to use probably for some chaos, maybe for good, I don't know, but overall, this poor boy named Polka who got assassinated, I mean, he now has more than he can chew. I mean, I'm not sure if he's still there or not. My anime list has Polka listed as a separate character, but I do think that this is fully the God Necromancer's body now. But either way, this show is awesome. It is beautifully produced. It's a fascinating premise, and damn if this show doesn't hook you in. Right away, you're going to be hooked in if you're an action junkie, but it keeps you there with some twists and turns that really have me excited. They even sprinkled in a little comedy. They joke about this like crazy weeaboo girl who honestly just kind of feels like she's like a walking cosplay in a way, and she ends up getting killed. In the after the credits moment, he's trying to talk like, hey, you should listen to me, and he's dangling her body in this chibi form, and I'm like, okay, but you seemingly are in the opening, so you're probably going to get revived, but if that's not a funny joke, I mean, it's a little morbid, but I mean, it was pretty funny nonetheless. Full live reaction, though, is available on my Patreon if you're interested in seeing. This one really surprised me. I wanted to watch it because, I mean, the title sounded edgy and the PV looked fun, but honestly, this one hit. Originally, I had no idea it was from the creator of BACCANO and the likes, but seriously, this show, it has a lot to work with. There's the mystery of what's going to go on in this modern Japan-like setting. You basically have a death god who's in the form of a normal boy who can now summon all this magic all for himself. Is the legendary hero going to reincarnate himself so he can fight him in this world? I don't know. What caused this boy to essentially get assassinated by these psychos who literally are like, why is this corpse walking around? At first you want to say, well, he's just a 16-year-old kid, what could he have done? But then you look at the people hunting him down, they also look like they're probably between 16 and 18, so who am I to judge what Polka might have been doing after school? Who the hell knows? But overall, this show, it just does everything right. There's an element of familiar, but for the most part, this episode's completely fresh and exciting. Originally, when we were just watching the fantasy world, I was like, oh yeah, this show's awesome, let's just focus in on this. And then the isekai thing happens, this time more of a reverse isekai, but isekai nonetheless. And I was a little taken back. I was like, man, I was really getting accustomed because I thought the hero was badass, he was fighting in so many cool ways, they were using all these different magic attacks in ways that you're not really expecting. Yeah, he casts a fire attack at one point, but I mean, the magic system just seems so interesting, right? He was using basically these spells to like stop himself from being thrown too far so he would brace his fall. He was launching himself, he was making a giant laser sword so he could cut down dragons. The necromancy side of things took a bunch of bones, pass it through a portal, and turn it into a giant dragon. I mean, who doesn't want to see an entire season of just focusing on content like that when it's this beautifully produced? And then you get to the more mundane Japan setting. But I was interested, right? The thing that immediately hooks you in, because initially you're kind of like, at least for me, oh man, I was really enjoying that. And sometimes isekai, you kind of feel like the stuff that happens before their death is more interesting than what happens after their death. But the thing that immediately hooks you in, or at least it did for me, was seeing the character that he now is with a slit throat. What's going on? Oh shit, they think this character is still alive, but seemingly it's a brand new soul put into this body, and it just immediately hooks you back in, but in a different way. And by the end of the episode, when you flash back to like, okay, we think we killed him, but his spirit's no longer in this world, but I still believe he's out there, I mean, this is a battle of good versus evil for the ages, and I'm here for it. I remember prior to this season starting, people who were either a fan of the source material or for some reason looked at the PV and they said it just didn't look good enough. They were a little worried about the studio and the team, but so far from what I just saw over the course of this episode, this is literally one of the best produced shows of the season. The static shots, the character designs, the world, and everything looks fantastic. But man, I mean, I don't, like, if you look at even the 3D they use with the skeletons and stuff, like, that's not stuff you would normally see people criticize because it literally blended in so seamlessly. And I'm really, really interested to see how they're going to blend the story, because there's no way you completely leave out this hero forever, but you could leave him out for a while, right? But the fact that what is going to happen, is he going to try to reincarnate himself into this new world, or is he going to travel space and time to find him? Or is there going to be completely new characters that will have to deal with this necromancer? I don't know, but either way, this first episode delivered. Beautifully produced, like I said, and honestly, I like the characters. The name of the hero was a mouthful, so initially when I thought Polka was the hero, I was like, oh yeah, we got Polka now, so I can just call him Polka. Turns out I was like, oh wait, no, this is a way more complex story than I was first guessing. I love it, I really do. This is going to be a split core as well, meaning we're going to get a 1 core over the next few months here. We're going to take a break, so it won't be in summer, but fall, October this year, part 2 of Dead Mountain Deathplay. So given how much I love this first episode, if the quality continues, the fact that I'm going to have probably at least 24 episodes of this one over the course of the next 9 months, give or take, I'm really, really excited for this one. Maybe people don't like it as much as me, maybe people will have the complete opposite opinion, but for me personally, the premise is interesting, the production is tight, it feels different, but man, this one, I was surprised. I mean, I thought it sounded cool initially just reading the synopsis, but if you go to sites like LiveChart or any of them, it wasn't really ranked that high on popularity, but seriously, if this one doesn't blow up over the course of the season, I'll be shocked, because it hits the isekai itch, it hits the fantasy itch, but honestly, it's just different. Not often you can have a god necromancer die seemingly, or at least teleport himself and reincarnate himself in the body of an assassinated 16-year-old boy in modern Japan, and the type of chaos that it could cause. But I'm here for it. I mean, I can already hear people say, but Brandon, you're isekai trash, you'll like anything, and well, that's kind of true. I do like more than maybe your average anime fan. I also do avoid like 4 or 5 of them every anime season just because they don't click with me, but honestly, like, yeah, maybe if the production wasn't quite as tight as it was in the first handful of minutes, maybe it wouldn't have hooked me in immediately, because I do like action. I do like watching insane action, but the thing that keeps you there long term is if there's a story and character. And immediately after that action, you get a character motivation of, why was this boy assassinated and why are we in his body now? And then by the end of it, you have the story hook that this fight, this battle between good and evil is literally going across space and time in reverse isekai fashion. Yeah, I'm hooked in. Call me isekai trash all you want, but that really does hook you in. Thoughts, feelings, yourself though down below. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, ring that bell of course so you can get notified when I upload on the channel, and like I mentioned, full live reaction is available on that Patreon. And while you're there, you can also get a video shoutout. So today we have Bhuwanake, Monica Lazuria, getting good with that name, Dawn, and Nathan Semichuk. So I appreciate the support everyone. Please take care and have a good one.